Hey New Zealand, I am going to ask you, my friends, family and enemies, to shut down our town and start again. If you can comprehend what is being said, please join our fight. Firstly, I'd like to apologise for some of my past videos and behaviour towards my friends and family. I have never been in this situation before, and the frustration and insanity of it has definitely gotten the best of me. I have asked nicely, begged, pleaded, screamed my head off, trying to get help for our kids and loved ones. I have burnt nearly every bridge with friends and family. A few years ago, I could never have imagined that everything in our lives is a massive lie. From the letters to the cultures, tattoo and weapons, all fiction created to separate and control us. My culture's real, Sasha, you might say. No, that's not true, and if you trace the knowledge of your culture back, you will find it came from our slave owners, not our ancestors. If that hurts the ego they created in you, who cares? When all children in New Zealand currently have poison in them, every culture related to me and my kids is fiction. It once sounded impossible to believe, but both the predominantly Māori and English cultures in New Zealand are only as old as James' family slave ships that moved our ancestors around the globe. The majority of my Irish family were renamed and sent around the world too. My kids' Māori and Pacific Island heritage, language and culture is a lie. This might hurt the egos of some of our cultural experts, but Māori arrived here on King James and his family owned slave ships. Slaves purchased and stolen from Mauritania and Peru, not twin-hulled ocean voyages from the mythical Hawaii or any Pacific nation. There were muskets and guns made from steel in New Zealand before patu, taiha, tāmoko and weaving. For a Māori or English man to receive land in New Zealand, they had to sacrifice themselves or their family in wars that helped cull us for our oppressors. For instance, Rewe Maniapoto is not from the area now called the Maniapoto. Rewe led women and children into mass death so he could receive his land blocks. This included leading children to be burnt to death in a church to help his oppressors maintain control. The exact same scenario happened in Ireland too. Now the Maniapoto has been rebranded again into Te Nehi Nui, the Great Forest. Unfortunately, there is no proof there was a great forest here. Most land was bare when slaves were brought here to play tangata whenua versus settlers. There is no proof any of our native bush plants are native here at all. Te Kuiti, Los Angeles and New York were all created at the same time by the same families and investors. Te Kuiti was a swamp owned by African, Egyptian and Viking for thousands of years, long before Māori and European slaves were brought here to play the part of indigenous versus settlers. What we do know is that our air is poisoned every day. Sulfur dioxide rain causing flooding, aluminium spraying causing our record temperatures, weather not made by a god but by scientists. There is no climate problem except the one they spray out of planes. An illusion to give yet another excuse for our families to be sterilised and murdered. If you mix the heat from aluminium and the sun and the cold from sulfur dioxide spraying, you get the wind and storms we have now. All religions, right down to the letters and words, were created by our oppressors and not our ancestors. No matter how good they make us feel, it is a lie. All the food in our supermarkets are dangerous for us, from petroleum-based cancer-causing sugars, fats, milks, salts, flour and grains, to fake meats and heavily poisoned genetic engineered fruits and vegetables. Even if it is a real pork chop, that pig was fed poisons that increase our children's chances of early death. Our shop bottled waters are containing less and less oxygen and more graphene. Our fizzy drinks are petroleum-based poisons now laced with graphene. Inside our homes, if you still have one, the water has fluoride and chlorine at levels higher than the concentration camps. Like many towns now, Rototuna and Hamilton has Ebola in the water too. This proves chlorine and fluoride are not there to poison germs, but to poison us. If you take our children inside or outside of New Zealand, it is child abuse. If you can't comprehend that fact, you probably were indoctrinated into being naive and gullible at one of their schools, just like I was. New Zealand schools are following the same curriculum as Nazi schools. No matter what language, religion or culture they gave you to believe in, we are forcing our children into sterilisation and early death in New Zealand. New Zealand, Aotearoa, o Te Ka Maui me Te Waipounamu are all names given by our oppressors and not our ancestors. A e I o u or A E I O U are derived from Greek and Latin. Our ancestors and family have always been encouraged and tricked into wars that cull our numbers and our brother and sister slave numbers overseas and at home. In 1965, a flu bug was first thought of to be used as a domestic bioweapon against all of us. This domestic bioweapon was first patented in 1990. In 2004, graphene was invented, and in 2010, the creators of graphene were rewarded with Nobel Science Prizes. Graphene is now in all of us. You can get graphene in New Zealand through Turtle Wax, Coca-Cola, Blue Mask, Rapid Test, and the slow-release domestic bioweapon called CVID. Our government, medical, media, and entertainment industries were paid heavily to ignore graphene injuries, sterilisation, and death. Because of our phone's algorithms, most people still have not heard of graphene. We now have well over double the amount of deaths in New Zealand as births because of graphene.